What is going on, YouTube? It is Primitive here, and today I'm going to be bringing you our most recent finals at our locals, and very surprisingly, it is going to be featuring Mother D Reaper on the right, who will be going first and going with that standard Mother play of just going for the Searcher, putting you at 1 and getting that draw. But on the other end, we are going to be having the WarGreymon X Antibody, which is a deck that, for a couple reasons, has a pretty decent matchup versus Mother D Reaper. First off, we have that BT8 Metal Greymon that is going to allow you to swing over unsuspended Digimon, so you can attack over Mother D Reaper, essentially making them restart their stack and get rid of all those searchers that may be underneath it. But you also have a ton of security attack pluses in this deck with cards like the starter deck Greymon or the Metal Greymon X Antibody, and those can get stacked up as well as with cards like the Memory Tamer Tai, which will give you security attack +1. So Mother D Reaper is a deck that will need usually 6 to 7 turns to set up, because you need 6 sources underneath your Mother D Reaper for the Gatekeeper, and you need 6 or 7 searchers underneath it for the Reaper. So you have 6 to 7 turns unless things like bubbles start to speed up the game plan, but that really isn't that big of a deal, because for WarGreymon X you are able to swing a ton of checks. So even if they are at 5 sources, then you can still swing in, not worry about that Gatekeeper giving the security attack minus, and just go for your own OTK before they come in with their Reaper OTK. One thing to take a note of is that there is that TK Kari on the D Reaper's board, and that's because they are playing that Spiral Masquerade package, and Mother D Reaper is a deck that got relatively solved. There wasn't too many flex spots, but people did go between playing the yellow package for the Spiral Masquerade and just playing the full package with things like Death Xmon. And although I think general consensus was to not play the yellow package is still very nice, because you get some memory gain from that TK Kari, you get some security help outside of things like Gatekeeper and security. You actually have something else that can delete, while also being able to just give you form of removal, which you don't really have with this deck outside of the Pilates head. So had a little bit of thinking there for the WarGreymon X player, decided to go for that red memory boost and pass turn, get a little bit of search and set up. I think the red memory boost is very nice. The extra memory definitely does help extend your turns a bit. Now, Mother D Reaper doesn't have the worst board right now. Obviously, the Mother and the Searchers themselves can't attack, but the Pilates head is able to delete, control the board a little bit, and that Pendulum Feet is able to swing in. The thing about the Searchers is they have the inheritable, all your D Reapers get the +1k DP, so with 4 underneath, that Pendulum Feet is going to be swinging in at 7k. Going into the next turn, another Searcher will go underneath, and so it'll be 8k, and so it's a pretty decent, beefy little Digimon to swing in and potentially survive. Obviously, they're just going to be 3ks on your opponent's turn, which is going to make it easier for them to delete, but still want to try and get some checks in, and going wide does help. But here comes out the BT1 WarGreymon, which is going to give us an extra security attack +1 on top of that Metal Greymon X Antibody and that Greymon security attack +1 inheritable. So we are going to be swinging. We should be gaining memories 1 as they go, but looks like we're just going to swing in and go with the Omni. I'm sure they would have fixed it right there, but I don't think it matters too much. But if you did hit the Spiral, they could have deleted the Agumon, so you probably wanted to swing the Agumon first and then swing those. But again, I think they were just trying to save time right there, because if you don't want to go 1 by 1 and gain the memory if it isn't going to matter. And we are all friends at our locals, so we are okay with just taking slight little shortcuts like that. Instead of gaining all the memory 1 at a time, just go clear the stacks and gain the memory. Makes it a little bit faster, but of course I do understand that's not exactly how it's supposed to go. But here again in the early game, we are just going to go for that search. It's going to be very standard for both decks, having that cycle with things like the Searcher being able to put over with bubbles, and also having Cool Boy and the Agumon for search. But now starting to get some aggression. I like that. We didn't see too many checks that last game, but already getting in that swing with the bubbles, surviving, which means that it's going to be there again to potentially get in more checks, while also being able to develop that Pendulum Feet. So we have potentially 2 swings next turn, which is going to be nice. Swinging in that Agumon, just thinking it's going to go down right away, even though with D Reaper, honestly, when you swing in, I feel like there's a higher chance you just hit the 1k Searcher than anything. So going to swing over the Digimon with the Searcher, put it underneath with the stack, swing bubble, swing Pendulum Feet. We are sitting at, what is that, 7k DP right now, so fairly beefy when you just swing into rookies. And again, going wide right now, so we have 3 Digimon on the board that can attack with your opponent only having 2 security, so they have to do something right here or else you do threaten to just go in for game, and they have the memory boost to be able to go for it, so we are just going to be popping up, go for that Greymon X Antibody, go back up to 3 here, and going for the Alterous mode, so not hitting that Metal Greymon from BT8 that we would like to be able to try and solidify this game. And there are a few cuts that are going to be going on in this match, and that's just because there was time thinking, and I just wanted to cut that out as much as possible because just waiting here and watching the opponents think as they go through their turns every single turn isn't the most entertaining, so just going to cut out those down parts, not missing any of the gameplay, but a couple of Alterous mode are going to come out, which do pop 2 of the Digimon on the board, which is going to leave the WarGreymon X player alive. They are hanging on by a thread right now, 0 security, and they were very close to going down, and now comes out the Gatekeeper, which is going to be live, so security attack -1 on the WarGreymon X player side, but we are playing WarGreymon X, so we do have the capabilities of being able to control the board a bit. You could go for the swing over the Pendulum Feet. You have the End of Attack, which would delete the Gatekeeper, and that's a nice way to clear off the board. Obviously, though, we would be looking for this BT8 Metal Greymon. I do believe that they play it because earlier in the event they were looking for alt-art versions, so I guess that's just me assuming that they are playing it, but if they are, that is something that we probably are going to be looking for. But they are going to go for the play of being able to swing over, End of Attack, delete a Digimon with less than or equal to DP, so pop that Gatekeeper. Not getting any security checks, but I don't think that matters too much because we can get those checks later. As of right now, we want to get rid of that Gatekeeper, get rid of the checks, and make it so your opponent can't attack, because not going to be able to attack with that D-Reaper, Mother D-Reaper, but no bubbles, no nothing that's going to come out. Gatekeeper would have been, again, relatively tragic right there because you don't have anything to delete it. You don't have that End of Attack with the WarGreymon, so if the Gatekeeper was in there, it would have came out and gone for game. But another Gatekeeper coming out, so gonna have that security attack -1 on the WarGreymon X player's side, and they have the Omnimon, which is a white Digimon, so not gonna get that buff from the tie, but they are gonna have security attack +1 from the Greymon, so you are in the position to where you could swing 1 check. And so if you could build up another stack on the Agumon to make it where it has 3 checks, it'll get that -1 from the Gatekeeper. You could swing the last 2 checks and then go for the Omnimon swing, but this is going to be another way to go about it. We are going to have that Omnimon X Antibody come out, which you can't bounce anything because it is level based. None of these Digimon have levels, so we are just checking that right there, but you are going to be able to bottom deck one of your level 6s or the X Antibody option. This is going to reveal security, just going to trash one or the other. You can trash the bubbles, which is the security option, but I don't think that's going to matter too much at the moment. It's not doing too much for you, so we just have to try and get swing in, and that Greymon with the X Antibody is going to do it. Putting the X Antibody source underneath, but that's not going to matter. They are going to be able to take it and take this finals, so if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe because I'll be bringing you even more Digimon content, and I hope you have a fantastic day. I will catch you next time. Peace out.